We are from Cultivate What Matters, and on this podcast, we talk about how to reach your goals, set goals, and reach them. And yeah, we just walk alongside you through all the hardships of trying to make what matters happen. So, how are you today, Tori?
I'm good. How are you, Kelly?
Good. I'm super excited for our topic today, as always.
You? I this is like I look forward to this part of the week every week. I love the
Yeah.
bloom.
Me too. It's so much fun. Okay, so let's dig in. Our topic today is managing your time well. We're talking about the power of preparation. So, how do you manage your time well? Do you have any let's start with some easy stuff like tips and tricks.
Okay, so I would say some easy, practical tips and tricks that I use to manage my time well are I use alarms in my phone. So, like, if I know I have something coming up or like a task I want to commit just a certain amount of time for, I'll set a timer or actually put like a reminder in my phone so it'll alert me that it's time to switch tasks or it's
Yeah.
time to, whatever. Um, and then I also write everything inside of my planner, which I don't have in front of me, but I kind of block
That's it.
off like my work time and I
Yeah.
guess I manage my time that way. How about you? What are some tips that you use?
That's awesome. Time blocking doesn't really work for me. I know that's like the popular thing, and everyone says block out your time. But a few weeks ago, I started tracking my time like very diligently. I have a time tracker printed out, and I track every single time I have to switch tasks because I have a
Ooh.
lot of different things on my plate, and so I don't get a ton in a lot of meetings and stuff, so I don't get a ton of blocks of time. And I think that time blocking never worked well for me because I was always trying to do a time block, but kind of doing it incorrectly because I
Mm.
was like, I have to hop out and go to a meeting, or like there's something on fire, I have to answer that back. And so a time block is truly when you like devote big blocks of time, but that only happens for me like once a week, only one, like
Right.
maybe 2 days a week. I get like big blocks of uninterrupted time. And so what I started doing is just tracking my time on every little thing that I did, 30-minute increments, 15-minute increments, whatever it is. Like I switched tasks here, I switched tasks there. And I realized, Tori, sometimes like time management can be really super hard because sometimes you just have too much on your plate. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you just don't have enough time. And so for me, that's been really insightful because in that sense, I feel like managing my time well is more about batching my tasks than it
Mm.
is about blocking my time. And I think once I realized, I'm just going to have to batch my tasks instead of doing, like sometimes people just have to wait. If I have to do something on Friday, that
Yeah.
just is what it is, because that's the only way you can manage your time. Sometimes you just have too much on your plate. So I think time management for me is more about batching my tasks than it is about blocking my time. And I know that's not maybe not like popular in the planner community, but
I love
there's
that
definitely
though.
something like real about realizing that your time is, people will pull you every different direction. So you have to be the one to kind of
Yeah.
batch your
The
tasks.
manager, the manager of your time. Yeah. I love that you said batch your tasks 'cause I feel like that's a really good time saving hack too. Because if you're
Yeah.
kind of doing tasks that all relate to the same thing, you're going to save yourself time from like logging in and other different platforms or like moving from one thing to the other. So I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
This is a really big struggle though. I feel like the people I think about the most are like moms because you're pulled in a lot of different directions and you don't get a lot of uninterrupted time when you have kids, you know?
No, you don't.
Do you have any like strategies for people that um have kids? You have kids, I know that, and that maybe work and that are struggling because ultimately blocking is the best way to do your schedule. But what do you do if you like don't have a lot of blocks? Oh, hold on, I think I lost you, Tori. Hold on. No, you're back. Perfect.
Okay. I don't the internet is spotty, but I have no cell phone service in here, so I can't disconnect from the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure
No,
what's happening. So,
totally fine. I was asking, I don't know if you heard what I was asking, but I was asking basically like if you don't have a lot of free blocks of time to manage time blocks, like what do you do? Do you have any?
yeah. So, two things that I do. So, I'm a mom of two littles and work full time. And I would say two things that I do are prioritize, which I know is something that we may not want to hear. But, like you said, some things just are not going to get done.
Yeah.
And I have to look at the amount of time that I have in between practices and sports and whatever may come up and say like what realistically can be accomplished in that amount of time and then be okay with some things not getting done. Um, I would say that's one of my big tips, but my second one that's really works well for us is including my kids in the
Yeah,
planning of what we're doing. Like, we have a family meeting and we
true.
all sit down and we talk about our calendar, and so, they're little, but they're also aware of, like, what I have on my plate and what my husband has on his plate and what they have on their plates, and so it kinda helps us balance, really, I mean, balance, that's such a elusive word, but it helps me, or it helps them to kind of understand their role in the picture of our time as a
Yeah.
family, and it gives them ownership over helping with things, so that I'm not feeling like I have to do everything and we're kind of working together. So that I feel like has helped us a lot, especially in this season.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Having them come into it with you is like I feel like I know some moms that would be like, "Hi, Elsko," first of all. I feel like I know some moms that would be like, "Ooh," and then some moms that would be like, "Yay." And I feel like that's like a very like your personality would probably really lend itself to whether or not you wanted to do that. But we do have the family workbook that's really awesome that helps with
I
setting up.
love it.
You
I
love
love
that, don't you?
Yeah, because we sit down and, like, every Sunday we've been using it, and we write out, like, okay, what days are you eating lunch at school? And because they think eating lunch at school is really cool, which is so funny to me.
So
'Cause when I
sweet.
was in school, it was like not cool, you know?
Yeah, that's true for me
They
too. It was like everybody wanted to bring their lunch.
Yeah, so
So
we
funny.
like go through the days of which days are you gonna bring your lunch, which days do we need to have a lunch. So that's already done ahead of time. So I think this is kind of lending to our topic of how preparation helps, because that Sunday meeting that eliminates like the scramble in the mornings of, okay, what do we need to do? Who's eating where? We also get it on all of our calendars when we have an event or XYZ, because I remember for a while when we didn't sync up our calendars, especially me and my husband, uh, we would have something that we need to be going to, and I would have to like remember to remind him to stop what he was doing and get ready to go. But now that it's all in one place, that has been eliminated, and he knows when it's
That's
happening, and
awesome.
so it just has helped a lot. I feel like I do not have it all together by any means. I feel like there's so many times that we're like frantically trying to get life
Oh,
together,
yeah,
but
of
it's
course.
it's helped.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell me more about how you synced it up, though.
Um, so we do a couple of things, and one is use the family workbook. Like, we sit down on Sundays and I kind of write everything in there and then leave that open where everybody can see it
Okay.
throughout the week. But he and I also share an iPhone calendar. So
Oh,
anything that
cool.
I add to my calendar, he can see, and then vice versa. So it's really, really nice too, because I put all of my work meetings and everything on there. So like, if he sees something pop up like a work meeting, or and somebody needs to get the kids, like, he knows it's on the calendar, and so it's just helped kind of keep us all on the same page,
Yeah.
because things get crazy.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that
especially with multiple kids going, like, a lot of different places and 2 people having jobs and meetings and yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds really crazy. I mean, it could get crazy, but I feel like it's a really modern American, like, family struggle.
yeah, well, and
More
before, with
houses
teaching. Oh, sorry, go
what? Go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was gonna say more families in 2024 have to have double incomes than ever before in history just because of the way the
Mhm.
economy is, and so I feel like more families are dealing with this same kind of structure that requires much more planning, so it's really cool. I love the idea of syncing your iPhone calendars. I never thought of that.
I like it, because let's say, like, I don't know, something comes up and I can say, "Oh, can he go get the girls?" No, he can't go get the girls. He's got a meeting here, so I'll go get them, and it helps
Yeah,
to kind of plan when I can be available for things. So.
that's so awesome. So what were you gonna say about teaching?
Oh, I was gonna say it's different now too, because like my hours used to be so set, and they were set
Mhm.
on the same schedule as my kids because they went to the school that I taught at most of and now we've had to kind of learn how to lean into this new work schedule, and because sometimes we have classes at night, and so I put
Yeah.
those things on the calendar, just so nothing gets bumped. But
Yeah.
it's definitely been a learning curve, Kelly.
I can imagine. I remember when I first left the classroom. I feel like anytime you change careers or you have any kind of change, you add a child to your family or you add any member to your family. Maybe you get married. I saw somebody talking about how she was about to get married and she was wondering about syncing up schedules and I was like, "Oh boy." I mean, I just feel like it's hard anytime you throw other people into the mix. it can be a challenge. But I mean, I will say I have a group of accountability people that I meet once a week with, and two of them are single. And it's interesting how everybody at the table a few weeks ago we were talking about none of us feel like we have any time. We're all like we're swamped. We have no time. We have all these things. And so I find it really interesting that somehow we fill our time, whether or not we have other people pulling on us or not. And I find that really interesting. I think it's just a powerful thing to remember. Like, whether you have a family or whether you don't, you still have the same number of hours in a day. And it's your job to prioritize what matters to
Mhm.
you, not what matters to anybody else, what matters to you. And if you don't do that, then you're going to be feeling that, overwhelm or that stressed out feeling or that, Tori, for me, it's a feeling of like emptiness or like a longing type feeling. It's this weird
Mhm.
um, double feeling of being like super overwhelmed, but also like super unfulfilled. And I feel like that is the thing that time management is for me. It's that feeling of being having a full schedule and a full life, but not feeling like I'm missing something
Yeah. How
because we
did
all have
you
full lives.
learn how did you learn what to put on your schedule and what not to?
That's a really good question. It's been a lifelong challenge for me. I will say not a challenge. It's been a lifelong process, and I don't know that I am, like, fully there, but I think honestly, it's gonna sound really cliche, but I honestly think Power Sheets made a huge difference for me because and this is why, for a long time in my life, I felt like I was just racing to the next thing, and I was getting through one day just to get to the next, or on my calendar, I would have I sit down every morning before I start my day, and I write out my top 3 things that I have to do, and I make sure those get done whether or not I like it or not, and so that's been a thing that I've learned, but through that process, I realized that I've got 3 things for today and 3 things for tomorrow and 3 things for the day after that, and so hang on, I lost my train of thought. Let me s hold on, my computer's open and it's, like, flashing a, antivirus thing at me, so I was like I know, it's distracting me.
Never want to see that.
Yeah, so, like, I think so back to what I was saying, I remember now, the Power Sheets process really kind of revealed to me that everything on my top 3 is for someone else. It's
Mhm.
always something that somebody else needs from me, and that my time was very, very rarely going to the things that matter to me. Very rarely. I would fill my schedule doing things to help other people, to help things move along, to be a good employee or whatever it was that I had freelance, whatever it was I had going on at that season. But it was never about the things that I had in my heart. And the best thing for me about being a Power Sheets user is that now I can feel when my priorities are not aligned. I can feel like, okay, my days are being spent on other people's important things, or my weeks, my months, my years are being taken by this wheel or whatever it is that I'm involved in. Before I did Power Sheets, I couldn't really feel that. I felt like I was just
Mhm.
achieving, like I'm teacher of the year, or oh, I've got this or I've got that, or I'm moving up the ladder. I just kind of felt like I was pursuing things that were worthwhile, and that's why my days were so full and so taxed, I guess. But now I can really I can it's like I don't really need to do the I'm not gonna say that because every year I do my prep work, I uncover something. I think it's just trained my brain to be more aware
Yeah.
of what it feels like to be spinning your wheels. Whereas
Yeah.
before, I didn't really have that awareness, I guess.
Wow. I feel like so many people can relate to that of that moment of going, "Whoa,
Mhm.
I'm spending all my time, but I'm not using it for the things that really matter to me."
Yeah, well,
And I
I've been reading. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something?
no, I was just gonna say I think that's why so many of us walk around feeling so unfulfilled is
Yeah,
we're doing all of these things, but they're not in alignment with what we said matters, which is why the tending list is such a great anchor point
yeah,
because we build that based on the
yeah.
things that we say matter.
No, I totally agree. Totally agree with you. I was reading in the book Start by John Acuff. He says
Mhm.
every great story has 4 parts. Um, and once you've gone through these 4 parts, you can't go back. Which I think this is the tending list. And I feel like all cultivators have gone through this with their time because we are specifically at Cultivate focused on how you spend your time. Like
Mhm.
time management, we could do an entire podcast only on time management because that's what we do. We help you spend more time on things that matter and less time on things that don't. And so he says that all great stories have four parts. And I thought this was super interesting for us. The first one is innocence, which for me, that was a stage in my life where I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the teacher of the year, and look, I accomplished my goal. I'm teacher of the year. I'm racing hard for this thing that's just like a trophy or something." Like it doesn't I don't know. So that's the innocent. And then you have innocence lost. That's the second part. That's when you realize, like, man, I've been doing all these things and I got nothing to show for it, or
Mm.
it burned me out, or I have nothing to my like, I don't actually have a legacy here, so that's innocence loss, and then there's the third part, which is coping with loss, which is where you really come to grips with the fact that, like, "Man, I misprioritized my time," or, "What a dummy I was. I put all this effort into something that was fleeting," and you really have almost like a grief stage where you
Yeah.
realize, "I have not been living the way that I know I should be living," and then the fourth stage, which is where most cultivators are, is the resolution and way forward. And so that's when you realize, like, okay, I'm ready to do something about it. This is my turning point. This is my stake in the ground. And that's where people tend to find cultivate because they've gone through those four stages. I find that really interesting because I feel like we kind of go back and forth between each one of those stages a lot. Like
Yeah, I was
sometimes
gonna
I'm
say I
like,
feel like I kind of live in between. Like I have micro of those.
yeah, 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 like, it's almost like an ebb and a flow, it's not like a, "Oh, okay, now you're cultivating what matters all the time," we kinda constantly have to continue to move ourselves through that when it comes to managing our time because so easily it can just slip away from us. I thought that was really interesting, and I feel like if you're a lot of times I hear cultivators, they're like, "I lost track of my power sheets. I didn't keep up with my goals or whatever, and I was just ashamed, so I didn't open them again." But I feel like knowing that there are those 4 stages and that we all kind of ebb and flow between them is really empowering because then you realize, like, "Okay, I was just back in my innocent stage, where nothing was wrong and I was racing forward, and then I just learned and I can pick up anytime. You can just enter the resolution phase again and start cultivating what matters again if you get off track with your time, because it happens, right? You go on
Oh
vacation, you
yeah.
have a sick kid, next thing you know, you're like, "Wait, it's Thursday? Like, what have I done my week?" And then, you know I don't know, I feel like time management is very
I
we
don't feel
could
like
talk
you
about
ever master it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And I feel like people who claim to have mastered it are just like overproducing almost. Like they've mastered the art of like, I don't know, production of doing
Yeah.
things.
Yep.
But I feel like with doing what matters, we talk about this, how it kind of has seasons. And
Mhm.
so we have to be willing to move our time management strategies with the seasons of what's happening in our lives and what is prioritized at that moment because we can't what's the um I can't not think of words today, but the
It's
story
okay.
of, like you're trying to balance all the things and something's got to fall. Like you can't,
Yeah.
and some things are rubber and some things are glass. And so you have to decide like what falls. And I feel like that's how it is with our goals. We cannot be 100% amazing at every single goal we set every day, all the time, 100% of the day. And so we have to be willing to kind of go through that process with each goal and each season and each week as things come up.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting too. I also feel like when it comes to time management, I don't know that there's a prescription for you, but I know I've seen this on the internet, people talking about stickiness, like something might stick.
Hmm.
So sometimes a planner just like really sticks with you. You use it, you have a system, and you're like, oh wow, this is sticky. This is gonna work for me. You can feel when your time management strategy is right.
Yeah.
So I feel like how to manage your time well, one of the big things there is just to not give up if you can't find something that works. If you
Mhm.
constantly feel a little bit stressed or like a little bit like you're, kind of running around, racing from thing to thing, try something else. Don't be afraid to make a change. There is a level of discipline that comes with sticking with something for a little bit of time to make sure that it's going to work. But I think there are so many awesome tools out there that
Yeah.
you can find something that works for you. I'll give you an example. I'm going to show you this really cool tool. For a very long time, I've tried to find something to help me uh, work faster. Like, you know, productivity is to work more faster, you know? But I am a thinker and like a contemplator and you know, a chatter. So, or not a chatter, but like I'm a contemplator. Are you there, Tori? I think you're frozen. Hang on. I think you're frozen. One second. She's frozen. Hold on. That's okay. I'll keep showing you guys while she comes back. Oh no, it started. All right. So Tori is coming back. Okay. So while y'all are here looking, I have this really amazing tool. I've tried for a really super long time to become faster at whatever like little tasks that I have. So I got this amazing timer off Amazon and I've literally tried everything. I've tried um like using apps on my phone. I've tried using timers on my phone. I've tried doing all kinds of different things to help me work faster. So I found this really cool clock on Amazon. Oh, Tori's gone. She'll be back, hopefully. Um, and I love it because if you turn it sideways, it'll start a timer for you. So it'll go from 60. I know, Kristen, it's so amazing. The Pomodoros, oh gosh, no, don't do it. But you can just literally turn it over on your desk. Like if something's gonna take me 5 minutes and I know I want to get it done in 5 minutes, I just flip it over and there it is. And it's so awesome. And then you can turn it right back and it's just a clock that sits on your desk. And I think this is the stickiest thing I've ever tried with time management because it actually just works. Let me check my text and see if Tori's out there. Tori got kicked off. Oh well, she's not out there. Anyway, Kristen, what are the Pomodoro videos? I've been trying Pomodoro videos. Is that where you, like, type in how many minutes you want the timer to go, and then it gives you, like, a certain amount of time? I don't know if you're still here. We're having some tech issues today. Oh, yeah, okay. I did not like the Pomodoro situation. I don't know. YouTube's sorta hard for me because sometimes it'll have ads and stuff, and it gets me distracted. It's not the best. But this little clock on Amazon is incredible. You definitely need it. So it's chill music that plays while you work and then switches for a break. The music switches? That's actually cool. I feel like that I'm gonna check into that. Watch me switch my system. That's so cool. I love that. Does it give you, like, a countdown, though? Can you see how much time you have left? Okay. So I don't know what's going on with Tori. She said she had bad service, so maybe she'll hop back on, maybe she won't, but we're just gonna wrap up for today because 'cause we've already been, um oh, she's back. Perfect. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks. The internet is just not on my side today.
No, it's totally fine. I was showing them my timer. I think you've seen it, the timer that, like, you can
I
rotate.
bought that because of you.
Do you like it?
Yes.
I like it too. Kristen's just telling me in the chat that there's a Pomodoro YouTube. I don't know about YouTube when I'm working either, but it plays music, like soft music when you're supposed to be focusing and then switches the music when you get a break.
Oh,
That's really cool,
I
right? She says,
like
"Yes to countdown
that.
timers. I searched from like 50-10 Pomodoro." Okay,
Oh,
good to
okay,
know.
I'm gonna have to try that. I like that.
But she did say that YouTube is a little bit distracting during work, so you may not need to open YouTube, but I can see that being really helpful.
I don't
I
feel
was
like I
just
get on YouTube a whole lot. Like, I feel like I could turn it on and just kinda put it in the background. Now, if it
Yeah.
were Instagram or TikTok, that would be a different story.
No, those 2 apps are like major time sucks.
I know that is, like, a very practical time management tip right there is delete those off of your phone if you cannot control the urge.
Yeah, Tori, I'm actually thinking about getting a flip phone.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking
It's,
about it.
like, trendy and retro.
I know, it's like the razor, like, I could do, like, "Hello," like,
Hello?
pop it open. I
You
know,
remember, like, the
I
hello?
know, I'm a little bit over technology in a weird kind of way. I know I'm, like, kinda ingrained in it now, but get a Nokia with faceplate.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my gosh, my first one had dolphins on it or something like that. Yeah, my first cell phone had an antenna. Can you imagine? It's, like,
Yeah,
so funny.
absolutely it did.
Gosh, but I am
The
thinking
brick.
about it. I feel like, think about this, story. Think about speaking of time management. phones were created to bring us more time. And in a
Mhm.
lot of ways they have. Like we can do things in lightning speed now. I can call my mom in 2 seconds, but imagine T9 texting your mom. You would be very intentional about the words that you say to her, and you're probably not going to I don't know. I just feel like maybe what was intended to take us in the time management space has actually maybe taken us a whole different direction.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think, like you said, there's a certain level of discipline that comes with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we have all these things at our disposal, but we have all these things at our disposal. Like, you could get lost in it. 'Cause
Yeah, and we
I
get like
know
shiny
I'm
object syndrome.
so guilty of, like, picking up my phone to do something productive, like search something or, "Oh, but then I have a notification. Oh, but then, oh, I forgot I need to text Kelly. Oh, but I need
Yeah.
to this video someone sent me," and then I can start scrolling, like, it's that quick.
Yeah, it's so fast and it's actually designed to make you
Mhm.
go down these rabbit holes. I find it very interesting that the technology creators of these things, they don't let their kids play on those apps. They don't let them have access to phones or apps or anything like that because they know that it messes up your mind and it hurts your ability to manage your time. And yet we sit on our phones all day long.
I
Well, I
know.
don't because I don't really like being on my phone, which is why I'm actually like blanket apology to everyone who's ever known me. I'm horrible at responding to texts and messages, but in some ways, if I'm there in front of you, I like to prioritize my time in that way, and I just don't really
Yeah.
like being on my phone. It makes me very sad for all these kids that are like super addicted to technology. I feel like they'll
There
never
was a
know the beauty of
study about this. About like, there's been numerous studies, but one was talking about how, like, and I mean, I'm sure you experienced this in the classroom. I know I for sure did, of like kids don't know how to interact in person anymore.
yeah,
And so they will literally not be able to speak to somebody face to face, but then they could walk out of the room and text them no problem. They don't know how to connect on that, like, person to person level, which is very interesting how quickly that happened.
yeah. It's like one generation, and it just went
Mhm.
away. Yeah, there's a book called Glow Kids. And it's
Glow
about
kids.
how technology has changed the physiology of kids' brains. So it's not even that they
Mm.
don't know how or that they're not good at connecting. Their brains are literally short circuiting when they're trying to think of what to say in a social situation. It's like that part of
That
their
is
brain is
so
not fully grown.
fascinating.
Yeah. So we look at it and
Wow.
we're like, you're just not doing it. You just prefer technology. You just whatever, whatever. But that area of their brain is like literally not there. It just hasn't been grown.
That makes so much sense because I taught preschool for a little while, and one of the things that we did in preschool, which was so funny to me, is called, baby circle time, and we everybody would get a baby doll with all my little 3 and 4-year-olds, and we would practice, like, how to interact with your baby. What kind of face
Yeah.
would you make if you were scared?
Yeah.
Whoa! Like, just teaching them how
Yeah.
to build those connections because they didn't have them.
Yeah, totally. That's for sure. And that's like literally growing that area of the brain. So on
Yeah.
that same note, I know we're like bringing it back to time management, but on that same note, um, you can actually grow your own brain. If you
Yeah.
are not happy with your time management strategies or you feel like you're getting too distracted, you can just put some systems in place that develop the brain function that you want to see. So if you want to be a person who is extremely hyper focused, delete your apps, put your phone away, have one browser open on your computer. I know that's really crazy for a lot of people, but it's possible to just have one browser at a time. It really is.
And it
You
doesn't
can.
make you less productive.
No, I think it makes you more productive. But over time, over days, you'll eventually get to the point where you can focus better and manage your time better. It's just a skill that you have to develop. And maybe you weren't taught it as a kid, maybe you were, maybe whatever, but you can grow that at any time. So I love that. I love that it's possible
Yeah.
to change it. You can simplify your life, you can simplify your systems, put your phone away, close out your tabs, time block, batch tasks. There's all different kinds of ways to manage your time. But really, ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to find what works best for you. So all these strategies are just tips, but everybody has a different plan that works for them. It's the way the world goes.
Yay. But it also is encouraging because if something didn't work, it doesn't mean you are not good at time management. It just means that wasn't for you.
I love that you said that. Yeah. It's not like people are not bad at time management. They may not have the
No.
strategies that they need, um, Or
It's
maybe
like
you're
what we
trying to
talked
do
about at school all the time. Like, they would always say, "Well, this child isn't good at XYZ," and it's no, that's not that they're not good at it. They just don't have the strategies yet to know how to do it most of the time.
yeah. And I also found it really interesting that a lot of them, maybe they had a lot going on outside of school. There were some external factors. Maybe they weren't given the structure that our brains need to thrive. All of our brains need structure in order to thrive. Um, but those are things you can do for yourself. Now that we're adults, we can parent ourselves and
Yay.
put those structures in place for ourselves. And so we have some good blogs on time management. We'll link them in the show notes for you guys, and you can find those there. Some tips and tricks. Tori, do we have anything else for today? Wait,
No. I love this though. I hope that you walk away feeling encouraged that even if you are struggling right now with time management or you feel super overwhelmed, that this is not the end for you. This is just the beginning.
yeah, and you're not alone. This is a really common thing in our postmodern world. So, we will see you guys next week, same time, same place. We are changing topics. So, in January, we talked about the power of preparation, but in February, I'm excited about this one. Do you want to tell them what our topic is?
We're going to talk about the power of presence.
So excited for that.
Me too. Well,
Being present
so
in the moment. So, every Thursday next month, we're going to talk about being present. And I'm excited about that. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Bye,
thanks for
Tori.
coming, friends. Bye, Kelly. Bye,
Bye.
guys.